Okay. Good evening to everyone. How many of you have had the experience of being asleep and dreaming and having someone come in and touch you on the shoulder or shake you gently and experience that as an element of your dream, where someone in your dream took you by the shoulder and shook it? In other words, if you've had that experience, something happening outside of the dream is experienced, but is immediately translated into the dream itself, which keeps you from keeps you from recognizing the option to have a shift of consciousness from the dream to real life. The reason I'm using this example is that I could have begun by saying, welcome to everyone from the rainy, blustery Pacific Northwest. And most of you, those of you who aren't here, would have said, oh, it's nice to have a little perspective on what's going on where everyone in the living room is experiencing. And none of you probably would have thought, wait a minute. Raj is speaking to us from the kingdom of heaven. And he isn't really welcoming us from our current perception of the kingdom of heaven, which we call the Pacific Northwest or any other part of the planet. And so what I want you to realize is that I am speaking to you from the conscious experience of reality. I am speaking to you from reality. And the fact is that every single one of you is right here with me in the middle of reality, dreaming a dream, but hearing me from the kingdom of heaven yourselves. That doesn't mean you're someplace other than where you're experiencing yourself at the moment. What it means is that what you're experiencing at the moment and calling planet Earth and certain weather conditions is the kingdom of heaven perceived that way. You're already at home. You're having your dream from home. There isn't any place to go. There's just the constant opportunity to get the point, to have the flash of insight that says, this voice I'm hearing, the shake on the shoulder, is coming from a different level of perception than the one I'm currently employing. So that then you can rouse yourself and greet reality right where you are and see it for what it is. Again, I'm speaking from home. You're hearing me from home. And this reminder is a trigger to you to stop assuming that the way you're perceiving everything at the moment is true, reliable, dependable, period. There's more to it. And in hearing my voice, you are hearing an event that is real with a capital R and is occurring independent of and separate from the definitions of everything that you are currently giving everything, and you are hearing my voice from a place outside the dream. You are hearing my voice from a place outside of your mutually agreed upon definitions of everything. You might say you have real ears. And your real ears are hearing my voice. And even though the experience is being translated into the current terms of your perceptions of the kingdom of heaven, it isn't changing the fact that the divine you is hearing my voice from home, and my voice is being extended to you from home, and there's no further to go. All that needs to happen is a moment in which you relinquish your commitment to the way you're seeing everything. When you're sleeping and having a dream, and it's time to wake up, the alarm clock goes off or someone shakes your shoulder, it's time to make a commitment to something other than what's attracting your attention, the dream you're having, so that you might step, for lack of better words, into a different order of reality. The chair you're sitting in, the bed you're lying on, the room you're in, all of it is some aspect of the kingdom of heaven, and you are in the middle of it, preoccupied though you may be. But this event of our being together and your hearing my voice and my recognizing you is absolutely, totally divine and real with a capital R. And we go to what is real about you is what is hearing what is real about me. And to some degree, this mutual experience of communion is everyone's, including mine, everyone's experience of the presence of God being all there is to everything. So, reality isn't afar off. It's happening at this instant, and it is what you are experiencing, no matter how it's being interpreted. And awakening is simply a matter of abandoning the interpretation so that it doesn't get in the way of the clear experience of what is real. When you are listening to my words as Paul speaks them, you are turning your attention toward the altar. Why? Because Paul has turned his attention toward the altar so that he might experience his brother, me, reflecting the Father. Okay, let's begin. Hold it up toward the top. At the top, yeah.
It should be emphasized again that the body does not learn any more than it creates. As a learning device, it merely follows the learner. But if it is falsely endowed with self-initiative, it becomes a serious obstruction to the very learning it should facilitate.
When you talk about it having self-initiative, it means, oh, you know, my body just isn't cooperating with me today. My body just isn't doing what I want it to. That kind of a thought endows it with a capacity, a supposed capacity to be something on its own. And your poor use of words creates for you a picture that you then believe and make commitment to. And how do you make commitment to it? You may become afraid of your body. You may engage fear because it's not cooperating with you. Because if it's not cooperating with you, it can act to your detriment. So your fear is the demonstration of the fact that you've believed your poor use of language and the picture it created, and by reacting to the picture you've employed, but thinking you're reacting to your body, you have made commitment to your belief and you suffer from your belief. The moment you become afraid and defended against your body, afraid of and defended against your body begins to cooperate with your decision about it, and it begins to tense up, to densify even more, and to begin to provide further complaints that increase your fear, increase your defense, and thus increase even more the density with which you hold your body, you see? Your body has no capacity to act on its own whatsoever because it's just the visibility and tangibility of your individuality. It's the visibility and tangibility of you. Continue.
Spirit is already illuminated, and the body in itself is too dense. The mind, however...
Why is it too dense? Because through your fear and your commitment to your fear, you densify it further and further and further. Do not assume that this statement means that the body on its own, in itself, is dense. There is no body on its own that of itself can be anything. All it is visibility and tangibility, the glow caused by the altar. Continue.
The mind, however, can bring its illumination to the body by recognizing that it is not the learner, and is therefore unamenable to learning.
The mind, however, can bring its illumination to the body. Why? Because that's the source of the illumination, of the visibility and tangibility of your individuality. It isn't that your mind or the mind can or cannot, will or might not bring its illumination to the body. That is just the way it is. Your individuality is what is rendered visible and tangible as the body, which ultimately you will discover is a body of light, a glow, as I've been saying. Continue.
The body is, however, easily brought into alignment with a mind that has learned to look beyond it toward the light.
Yes. And the image I have been using has not been to look beyond the glow, but rather to turn around so your back isn't toward the altar where the light is, the light of your essential being, which is the presence of God. Continue.
Corrective learning always begins with the awakening of spirit.
Well, let's stop right there. Corrective learning. Wow. I'm sure all of you treat that word corrective like a grace note in music. You play it and get off of it as fast as you can. Or you think of it as a mechanical effect brought about by a splint or something of that sort, where correction occurs, and it's no big deal. But I want you to take the word corrective and the word correction seriously, because it is exactly like being corrected as a child. Correction means that something occurs which causes you to actually change the way you behave. Corrective learning is learning that causes you to behave differently in an improved manner. Corrective learning always begins with the awakening of spirit. And I'm going to use the word spiritual sight. The influx of revelation, the influx of a new perspective that actually causes you to see things differently, because it connects you with an experience of the divine. Not just the experience of God, the divine, but also the experience of yourself as divine. And therefore, the turning away from the belief in physical sight. Whenever you have what I'm going to call insight, an event of spiritual sight, it moves you to a new level of clarity about yourself and everything else in a context of a divinity that is all-inclusive, so that you feel not only specifically real, with a capital R, but you feel grounded in a reality that is far more infinite than what you had been embracing in your conscious awareness up to that point. Continue.
Where was I? Should I start at this often? Yes. This often entails fear, because you are afraid of what your spiritual sight will show you.
That's another way of saying that it creates a spontaneous feeling of guilt. If there is a light that has been turned on, that even slightly smacks of divinity, you automatically feel as though your guilt, that your flaws are going to be uncovered, that your lack of divinity is going to be exposed, and your guilt is going to be demonstrated by the illumination of divine light. Continue.
I said before that the Holy Spirit cannot see error and is capable only of looking beyond it to the defense of atonement. There is no doubt that this may produce discomfort, yet the discomfort is not the final outcome of the perception. When the Holy Spirit is permitted to look upon the defilement of the altar, he also looks immediately toward the atonement.
He doesn't become fixated on the problem. He doesn't become fixated upon the flaw. He recognizes that the flaw is a misperception. And so he goes beyond it. He goes to what it is a misperception of and illuminates that. And illuminates that in you. And therefore you are not judged guilty. You are judged not guilty. Because the reality that you had a misperception about is uncovered to you, confirming your innocence. Now, this is important because when you look at a brother or a sister, or even when you tend to look at yourself, you are likely to see the flaw and get hung up on the flaw, instead of asking, what is this flaw a misperception of? What is this flaw a lie about? What is it a misinterpretation of? So that you can move beyond it to recognize the truth that is ultimately the truth about yourself and your brother. And that is the fertile soil for healing. Continue.
Nothing he perceives can induce fear. Everything that results from spiritual awareness is merely channelized toward correction.
It is merely channelized toward correction. What a wonderful thing to be aware of. When the Holy Spirit looks at you, its whole function is to bring you into an understanding and experience of yourself that goes beyond your current misperception, so that your misperception is corrected and you can be in a new way. And I have said before that the Holy Spirit is your divinity held in trust while you dally with the ego. Do you see how wholizing that awareness is? Because it's your divinity that is willing to look beyond your current misperception to uncover the truth that it's a misperception of, so that you might come into a truer experience of yourself, colon, and correction can successfully occur. You often think of the word correction as chastisement. But correction is to be changed, to be made new. That's what correction is. It's not punishment. It's healing. Everything that results from spiritual awareness is merely channelized toward correction. Continue.
Discomfort is aroused only to bring the need for correction into awareness.
Yes. And discomfort occurs because of the unchangeable sanity of your being. So that when you are attempting to act at odds with your being, you get feedback. Without the feedback, you could become totally insane, without hope for healing. No one makes you uncomfortable. God does not set up circumstances for you to be uncomfortable. The Holy Spirit doesn't make you uncomfortable. I do not make you uncomfortable. None of us need to. It says, it's like if you take your finger and bend it backwards, the harder you press, the more uncomfortable it is, because you're trying to make it do something that it doesn't do, that it's not made to do, that it can't do. No one has to set the experience up for you. It's just the way things work. If you try to be at odds with your being, you will be uncomfortable. Discomfort will be aroused because of the simple sanity of your being. Discomfort is aroused only to bring the need for correction into awareness, which means to bring into your awareness that it's sensible to stop pressing your finger back in a position it doesn't go in, so that you stop. You don't say, "Oh, my goodness, my finger is giving me a hard time. I wonder what Is this karma?